Back tonight and in focus, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana's medium-term budget policy statement has been met with mixed reaction. Newzroom Afrika's business editor Xolani Mbanjwa spoke to economist Dr. Dick Forslund earlier to get his take.
There were a lot of expectations ahead of this medium-term budget policy statement by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, and Newzroom Afrika continues to bring you reaction in terms of those who have seen the good side and not so good side of this MTBPS 2022. I'm joined by Dr. Dick Forslund, who is the senior economist at the Alternative Information and Development Center. Dr. Forslund, thank you very much for joining us. Your initial reaction in terms of what was expected that we spoke about the other day, in terms of your expectations and what was delivered by the minister.
No, it was according to expectations, the bad expectations as we had as AIDC. So if you look at the budget, the extreme austerity policy that was starting in 2020, it continues, and this is indicated, it's indicated by the goal to have a so-called primary budget surplus in the next year. And that means, I heard several MPs speaking about the increased allocation to education, health, and so on. But if you take these allocations and if you kind of take away the value that will be depleted by inflation, and you use the more optimistic inflation forecast that the Treasury has in the budget, then basic education, it drops in value next year by in resources by about 9 billion rand. Health is dropping in value by 10 billion rand next year, and some 4 or 5 billion again in the following year. Government employment programs are cut by about 4 or 5 billion rand, and so on. So I don't know if the MPs maybe I'm more grumpy than they are, or maybe they are not reading the budget properly. But it is an austerity budget, and it was expected. And as I pointed out yesterday, this is a budget that was done really in partnership with the World Bank, and they are favoring such policies. So that is what he did. And as for the 350 rand, the continuation of the what I call the special COVID grant, or this which is given to about 8-9 million households or people, if they are accepted in the process of trying to register for this grant. You know that has been a problem too. It's good that it continues 1 year more, but I'm more see that they had to do it, otherwise it would have been an absolute scandal. But if you look at the following 2-3 years, they say it will continue 1 year and then it will disappear. If you also take the grants to the whole social grant system, the disabled, the important childcare grant, and so on, in year 2, the whole grant allocation drops in resources, in value after inflation, by about 42 billion rand. So this is this budget. And what should you say about that? If you have mass unemployment as you have in South Africa, how can you even consider to decrease the allocation to government employment programs? They should be the employer of last resort. They should employ people as they are to repair infrastructure and so on, under auspices maybe of unemployed engineer students, which are coming out in droves from the universities. So you need really an expansion of the public sector, otherwise the social fabric of the country will continue to fall apart, and the infrastructure will fall apart with it. But this government is relying on the private sector to develop the country, and I think that this has failed.
Dr. Dick Forslund, I'm sure you have got much more to say in terms of dissecting this particular MTBPS 2022. Thank you very much for your time. That's all the time that we have. Really stern words once again in terms of the austerity nuances that we saw in terms of the budget cuts, and something that the AIDC says is a huge concern for them, because there will be this budget surplus that is a target in the next year. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Forslund. For Newzroom Africa on Channel 405, I'm Xolani Mbanjwa in Cape Town.